Hello to all you lovely flossy friends who live in my phone. Welcome to Flosstube number 10. My name is Pam. I am known here as the Ditsy Daisy Crafter, the same over on Instagram. If you haven't met me before, welcome. I'm delighted to have you here. If you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back. It makes me very, very happy to have you here. And yeah, Flosstube number 10. Who can believe it? I made it to double figures. I would stand up and shake my bahookie in a celebratory fashion, but that just seems far too energetic. But yeah, 10 floss tubes. Didn't think I would still be here, but here we are. So, welcome. Today is Tuesday, the 16th of September, 2025, although by the time you see this, it'll probably be Wednesday, the 17th before it's uploaded. If YouTube Studio is anything like it current has been. My last floss tube took 17.5 hours to upload, and I know it's not just me. I know I do tend to waffle on and have quite long videos, but yeah, it's not just me, and because it's a long video. So here we are. What have we got for you today? We have lots and lots for you today. I have 14 bits of stitching to show you. I have plans to chat about. I have lovely people who have razzled my berries to tell you about, and of course I have a Scottish word of the day for you. So yeah, if all that sounds okay with you, settle yourself down, grab yourself a drink, you're stitching, make yourself comfy, and we'll crack on. If you like what you see today, I'd be delighted if you pressed like and maybe pressed subscribe, and even to coin Anita Ward, rang my bell, and you'll get notifications, get alerts if I post again, when I post again, not if again. So yeah, let's just crack on, shall we? So I've got usual notes, because you know what I'm like, we're a very little brain. So if you see me looking around, then that'll be why. So yes, I have got 14 pieces of stitching to share with you today. No FFOs. I've got 4 SAFs, start and finishes. I've got a finish that I am delighted about, 4 new starts, and where are we? 4 whips is it I've worked on? Does that sums work out to you? 5 whips that I've worked on, that were live before I came into this month. So we'll start off with our starts and finishes. They're mostly quite small. I've been doing some kind of seasonal smalls to make into pillows, that kind of thing. You are going to notice a trend through this month of same fabric and very much the same colour scheme throughout. If you've watched any of my previous floss tubes, I'm thinking particularly the Easter and Halloween ones, you'll know that I quite like, if I'm going to be displaying pieces together for seasonal things, to do them on the same or kind of complementary fabrics and with similar colour schemes. So today's lineup is brought to you partly by a project I did last year. Was it Autumn Leaves and Sweaters, please? I'm trying to think, is that what it was called? Cherry Hill Stitchery one. I have it up downstairs, which I stitched on 14 count Rustico Ada. And I had a fair few bits of offcuts from that. And I've started a new project to match it. It's going to go in the same frame, the same kind of finish. So I wanted the fabric to match, because the 2 of those pieces are going to be kind of next to each other. And with that came more offcuts. So I have got a lot of 14 count Ada Zweigart Rustico to show you today, which is just perfect for this time of year, and it's so easy to stitch on. So yeah, so the first few are on that. So the first one I've got for you is this one here. This is an adaptation of a Robin Pickens freebie design. The original design had, I can't remember what the text said underneath, and the border came down. It was much more rectangular. Was it Hello Fall? I can't remember what it said. I honestly can't remember. But I just wanted the little acorn. So I just got it short and recharted the border to work around it. And I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. Now this is stitched in fancy flosses that I had left over from that project from last year. I just grabbed what was to hand and made it up as I went along. So that says there, the original chart has a little bit of patterning in this kind of bit of the, I don't know what you would call it, the shell of the acorn, which would work great if you were doing it in DMC, but doing it in Fancy Floss, it didn't work, so I unpicked it and started from scratch. So that's that little one. Thinking it's probably going to end up like a cushion, I think. I haven't got as far as working out exactly what's going to happen with finishing things this month, but that's probably what's happening. And this one is possibly going to be the same. Now I stitched, see my teeth aren't in already, stitched this to this and the acorn on the last day. I just kind of went for it and managed to get starts and finishes for the two of them in the same day. It was a lot of stitching to do in one day. Possibly with retrospect, with hindsight, I wouldn't have done that. But hey ho. Now this little guy, this is from Bent Creek. It's called the leaf flag. And again, it's slightly adapted because I got a little bit carried away doing his tail and I ended up a few rows. I think about 2 or 3 rows too high with his tail. That's okay. I just made the stem of his little flag a little bit longer to accommodate that. So he's just about a little bit taller and his tail is a little bit longer and grander and floofier. So yeah, again, probably going to be a little cushion, a little pillow finish. I'm hoping to get a fair bit of finishing done by the end of the month. So yeah, hopefully that will be done. You know me and my sewing machine. It's a love-hate relationship at the best of times, so we'll see how that goes. So my third finish, again 14 count Rustico, is this one here. This is a Primrose Cottage chart, Pumpkin Kisses. You've seen me stitch, or if you've been here before, I shouldn't be so arrogant to assume you have. But you may have seen me stitch ones from this series, this, you know, something wishes and something kisses. Throughout the year, there's been Easter ones and Christmas ones and all sorts of things. So this is the fall one. So we've got Harvest Wishes and Pumpkin Kisses. And again, I made it up with leftover floss. Just kind of did my own thing with the colours. Not convinced that there's the best kind of differentiation between the pumpkins at the bottom. Again, hindsight is 20/20, they say, but I'm happy enough with it. It'll probably go in a little frame. Haven't decided how I'm going to decorate that yet. That's a future Pam problem, although we're running out of month quite rapidly, so it's not all that far in the future Pam. So yes, there's that one. And then my fourth start and finish is one I love. It's Primrose Cottage. And this is I Love Fall most of all. I just love it. This is stitched again, the same 14 count Ada. Everything is going to match beautifully when it's all displayed together. And this is done with the called for fancy flosses, which I can't remember off the top of my head. I think they're mostly weeks, I think. Don't quote me on it, but I think it is mostly weeks. And I followed the chart with the colours. Again, not the best of difference between the two colours at the bottom there for the pumpkins, but overall I just love the colour scheme. I just think it's adorable. So I finished this last night. I've got a companion piece to stitch with it. Autumn Alphabet it's called. Again, Primrose Cottage, same colour scheme, virtually the same size. I think, you know, maybe 1 or 2 stitches out, nothing that you're going to notice. And they're going to be finished as a pair. And the plan is to do that by the end of the month. And I'll explain more about that when I show you them with my September recap. And they will hopefully be finished by then. So that's my 4 starts and finishes. My finish is one I'm absolutely delighted about, and it shouldn't come to any surprise to you if you've been watching over the last couple of months. And that's this one. It's the Cottage Garden Samplings, the Reindeer. I was so excited to get this finished. I've stitched the fox on the same fabric, and I've been really, really keen to get these framed and up on the wall as a pair. Now, Ailey saw it, she's like, oh, that's lovely. I bet you can't wait till Christmas to have that out. And I'm like, a reindeer is for life, not just for Christmas. I know it's kind of wintry and Christmassy with snowflakes and all that, but no, it's going up all year round with the folks. The folks is, yes, it's not as wintry, but they'll be fine. I'm just so happy to have it finished. I really enjoyed stitching it. I did go a little bit wrong somewhere in here, but I just fudged it, and then it's absolutely fine. It works out okay. The fabric is showing a bit more mottled there than it is in real life. It's pull stitches, 32 count, excuse me, lightning strike, and even weave. I really need to put my teeth in better before I start this. And it's one of my favourite fabrics. I just love it. I've got another project on it coming up in a few minutes. And it's stitched with the called for DMCs. Nothing fancy about it. I think if you were to try and stitch this with a fancy floss, the patterning that they put into it just wouldn't read right. It would just disappear. But yes, hopefully by the end of the month, I will have it framed to show you. I might even have to take it off the wall to do so. That would be ever so slightly exciting. I don't really have a huge amount up on the walls that I've stitched. Not many. I've got a few things needing to be framed at some point, but yeah, so I'll be really excited to get those two up together. So, new starts. As I said, I've got 4 of these. First one, no surprise, you see one every month. The Crocette GoGo, La Finestra del Tempo. I am working on October's. I can't believe that after this one I've only got a couple to do. The year's just flown in. So that is the chart there. You can see it comes in 3 separate charts, each with 4 months in. So I'm on the last of my charts. If I leave that there. And this is where I'm at. I have to say, when I took this out, I thought I was a little bit further on than I actually am. Hey ho. But I've enjoyed what I've stitched so far. I have really enjoyed this one. For some reason, this bunch of grapes just made me really, really happy. I don't know why. So yeah, I'm probably about halfway there on this one. I've got a few days before the end of the month to get it finished and finally finished so it can get hung up on the 1st of October for my kind of like month marker. So that we're at. So yeah, if I show you again what it looks like. I'm hoping that the lighting is okay today. You've heard me cursing my ring light before. I've only used it, I think, about 3 times. I switched it on and it flickered and went off and refuses to now come back on. So it is dead. So I'm kind of trying to jerry rig today with like a craft lamp, a daylight lamp. Ailey is working on techie stuff for me to hopefully have things a little bit more professional, as professional as you can be with me, for the next time. But yeah, so hopefully lighting will improve then as well. But hopefully it's okay today and everything is kind of come through. I'm kind of like coming through a funny colour, but hey ho. So yeah, so that's the one we're doing there. Obviously I've got the owl's eyes to put in and I've got the building. What have we got there? We've got a spider on top and we've got a couple of pears hanging down and the word October. And they all have a little white border that goes around them. So yeah, so hopefully that will get done in plenty of time, and I'm not stressing myself on the 30th September trying to get that done. The next one is one you'll have seen up on Instagram, complete brain fart there, that I was kind of showing that I'd done the top half of this, and I'm doing this for the, oh gosh, now what is it? Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it. I'll put it below. It's Fall Foxes Stitch Along. So this is it here. It's the Fox with Butterflies. from the Max Pigeon Cross Stitch in the Forest book. I'm sure most of you have seen this book or probably got it because it's just gorgeous. So that is what I am stitching, and as I said, I'll just put my bookmark back in. I'm about halfway through. I've done the top half. That's kind of the top half, just literally where he ends. So I've now got that big, huge fluffy tail to go in, and then some flowers as well. So I'm kind of about halfway through, I would imagine, stitch count. There's an awful lot of stitching in that tail. But I'm hoping, again, if I work hard, if I try and knuckle down, that I might get it finished by the end of the month. Again, some 14 count Ada, stitching called for DMCs. Most of the Pigeon Coop stuff is kind of stitched on white because Max Pigeon, the designer, uses a lot of negative space, so white kind of pops nicely. But again, this just feels nice and rustic on autumnal for it. So yes, delighted with that one. Now this next one is a new start that has kind of been in the offing for quite a while, and I was going to start it, and then decided to leave it and do it as a seasonal stitch in autumn. And it's this one, Silver Creek Samplers Olivia Ochreleiph, which I don't know why, but I saw it and I fell head over heels in love with it. There's just something about it that just shouted to me. It just screamed, buy me, buy me, buy me, you have to stitch me. So I did, because it would have been very, very rude to ignore it. So again, I'm stitching on 14 count Rustico. This is the one that is going to be finished the same way as the Autumn Leaves and Sweaters, please, or whatever it's called. I can't honestly remember. Same frame, same setup, because it's much and such the same size. So this is the reason I got some more of this fabric, and that everything else has been stitched on the offcuts of that fabric. It literally is. I want as much bang for my buck as I can get. I am stitching on everything, even if the margins, you know, my edges around it are a little bit nippet. I'm going to go for it because most of the things I frame myself, and I can make it work one way or another. So this is Olivia Ochreleiph. This is her here. So as you can see, I've not made a huge start, but it's a start. I'm not convinced about this. I'm stitching in the called for fancy floss, and I think this is Weeks Dove, which is beautiful. It's really, really lovely. And when you see it on here, it works fabulously. But of course, my fabric is a little bit more flecked and a little bit more, is busy the right word with it being Ada? You know, there's more obvious holes. It's a busier background, and it just kind of disappears. It's coming out not too bad there, but in real life, it's a little bit paler. Now, I know that it's meant to be pale. The little poem on it says, she wears a dress of scarlet, red and orange leaves from overhead that sparkle with frosty glows soon buried in a winter snow. So I'm thinking that obviously you've got the orange and reds of the leaves, and then that kind of silvery, it's like a greeny blue, are more to represent the frosty colours of the poem. But I'm just not convinced. So I think what I've got there is going to be frogged. I would have carried on doing the text, but I thought, no, just hang fire. So I just used it as a counting point to start doing other bits. This is the called for DMC, which, as you can see there, it reads a little bit darker. Whether it reads darker when it's down to being stitched in 2 threads, I don't know. But I think I'll take this out and I'll try it with this. And if this doesn't work, I've got the darker version of this on order. I think it'll be coming possibly tomorrow. So if I'm not convinced about this colour, I'll just go a shade darker. I don't want to go darker. I like it being subtle, but that's an option if it doesn't show up. So that's not going to be finished anytime soon, but if I get some of that new text in, I will show you at my end of month recap, and hopefully you'll see a difference and those words will pop just a little bit better. So next one I've got is, again, it's one that's been sitting in the wings, and it's one of a set of 9, and I'm stitching them individually. This is the Little House Needleworks Fall on the Farm. This is number 2, which is the old farmhouse, is that right? Yes, the old farmhouse, chart number 2. I just said to Bruce, pick a number between 1 and 9, and he chose 2. So this is the one I've started with. Each of these charts come with a little poem or quote or saying on the bottom of them. So I'll read this one to you. It says, "Perhaps you do not know that in the falling of the leaves there is music sweeter than the song of garners bringing in their sheaves." And that's by LeBaron Cook, 1883 to 1939. So they've all got something on the bottom of them, which I think is just charming. So there we go. That's what I'm stitching. I'm stitching mine on 28 count light top Lugana. I did think about doing something different, but as you can see there, it's quite similar to what's there, and I know that white pops really well on it. This one, it's not white. They are classic Colourworks threads, and I'm just looking for it. It's bamboo is the white. So that's where I've got to. Now I have to say I'm not entirely convinced by that bamboo, because in places it just looks a little bit grubby. But then it's an old farmhouse and it possibly is a little bit grubby. But that's where I'm at. There's a little bit more stitching in these than you expect for the size of them. I think these work at about 4.5–5 inches square where they're finished. But obviously that house is quite stitch dense. So again, it's 28 count light top, and it's stitched in all the called for classic Colourworks. If I go back to where I am here, you'll see I've done the pumpkins, although you can't see them hugely well. So I've got this picket fence to do, and then down here we've got some chickens and some kind of tufts of grass, and then there's a border that goes all the way around it. So not a huge amount left to do, but the more finicky stitching, jumping around from place to place, that kind of thing. So yep, I'm hoping that over the next few months I will be able to, batter a few of these out so that it's ready for me to finish next autumn. I'm about to say spring then for some reason. I'm completely confused. There's a text just appeared on my phone and I'm like, it completely threw me. So yeah, hoping to get this one finished by the end of this month. Shouldn't take a huge amount to do. So yeah, that's that one. So that's all my new starts for this month. Gosh, we're racing through it today. We're on fire. So yeah, so now I've just got 5 whips that I've been working on prior to this month. So you've seen them all before. Some of them you saw last month. You're seeing kind of like most videos at the moment. Some of them have been a couple of months longer. Like kind of June time, one of them is, since it's last been out. But I'll just crack on. Now, you've seen this one recently because I've spoken about it a couple of times. I started it, I think earlier in August, and then I was still working on it at the end of the month, so it kind of appeared in both videos last month. And it is this, it's the Quebec Seasons, another Pigeon Coop design, this one from Etsy, and it's a set of 4 vignettes of the same view at different times of the year, so the 4 seasons. And my intention is to stitch each season in season. So I have finished summer with what, a week to go. Well, it was a couple of weeks because I finished it last week. And it was a last minute start. I thought, I'm not going to have time to finish it, and then I've just run with it because I have enjoyed stitching it so much. So this is summer. Each is a 39 by 39 cube offset, and rather than displaying them like this or doing them individually, I've changed the orientation slightly, so it's going to make one big square that is again offset to match the alignment of each of the stitch boxes. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed stitching this. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a joy to stitch. I think my problem going forward is that obviously I've got 3 months of autumn, and I'm going to want to race on and finish that because they're just so lovely to stitch. And I'm going to have to pace myself because it'll be, where are we, December before I get to start on winter. So I'm going to have to try and temper myself and just not rush ahead. Because I'm like, oh, I could just rush on and get it all finished and I could get it in a frame. That's not what my plans were when I started. I know plans can change. I know I can change the rules at any point. It's my stitching, it's my rules. I shall do what I want when I want. But I'm trying to be disciplined because I sat and I wrote out a list of all the things I want to stitch on for the rest of this year. And I had plans, kind of like a big overarching plan, that 2026 was going to be the year of tiers and towns, because I have all the tiny towns to do. I've got the Erin Elizabeth tiers to do. I've got the Madame Chantilly. I've got one to finish, then another, where are we, 8 of those tiers to do. And I've got the Crocette GoGo. I've got one Autumn in the City to finish, and then another 5 to do as well. So that had been my original thought, was 2026 is the year of tiers and towns. And then I started writing everything down that I wanted to work on. And it might be 2036, not 26 before I get to those. And I'm going to be stitching in my sleep, and I'm going to be stitching in the shower. I have so much on this list. It's just, I have the breaking strain of a Kit Kat when it comes to shiny new things to play with. And I like starting lots of things because I go on the theory that once it's kitted and started, it's easier just to pick up as and when you feel like it. Psychologically, it just seems a little bit more of a deal to start it. So if I get things started, then it's easier to pick up and move forward with than having it sitting in a bag. So I have been kind of doing a fair bit of kitting up and thinking ahead. I also completely overwhelm myself with the amount of stitching I want to get through. I know I'm fortunate that I have a fair bit of stitchy time and I can do it. Although I have to say that the hands are, as much as I love the burrs, and they're my favourite ones, I'd forgotten just how much my body doesn't like the change in the weather, and my hands and my feet in particular have been very painful, and stitching has been a bit more difficult, but I can't stop. It's, you know, either my hands hurt or my heart in my head does, because I'm like, I need to stitch, I need to stitch. So yes, I am aware that I'm fortunate that I get a fair bit of stitchy time to crack on with things, but I do tend to overwhelm myself and then get a little bit about it, because I'm not achieving everything I want to, because inevitably, as it happens to all of us, life happens and other things happen, and, you know, life doesn't happen in a vacuum. So there's lots and lots of other things going on that you still have to kind of like work around. So yeah, so that's kind of jumping ahead to plan slightly, but yeah, I'm still trying to work out that balance and pacing of trying to juggle everything. So anyway, I digress. Let's crack on to my next whip. Now it doesn't look like a huge amount of progress on this one. I've added 712 stitches, but it looks like a drop in the ocean. And that's this one, Plum Street Sampler Spring Moon. Gorgeous, gorgeous charts. Lots and lots of you will have seen this and probably stitched it as well, and cracked on through it way faster than I am. So that is the finished chart. My version of it is not quite so impressive. Here we are here. Again, I'm stitching this on 32 count lightning strike from pole stitches. I love this fabric so much. It's showing up, yeah, a little bit better there. It's not quite as mottled, maybe in places. as the last piece I showed you with the deer on. So yes, the last time you saw this I had done the basket and the roof. So this time I have started doing this little checkerboard wall and started putting in some of the windows. And I just sat and cracked on, and it's eating your veg. It is very much eating your veg. It's not the most fun or exciting stitching, but it needs to be done. And I'm trying to push on and get some of the grunt work done, the blocky bits, so that I can then relax and enjoy the rest of the stitch, the fun bits, the flowers and the leaves and the moon and that gorgeous hair. Last time I showed you this, I did mention that, oh, the name has escaped me. I'd watched a Flosstube and somebody else was stitching this. Oh, I can't remember her name. A lovely Dutch lady. It'll maybe come back to me. But she had come to the same conclusion that I had, that she wasn't keen on this bee skep here. It's really big and solid and yeah, there's nothing for me. And she felt the same. And we had both independently come to the same solution to this problem, and that is move this flower in and just take the skep out completely and just balance it so that this flower isn't cut off the way it is, and do it that way. So that is the plan. But given how much more of this house I've got to do, that's not going to be happening anytime soon. I find this one quite slow going. As I say, there's a lot of house still to go. I'm not even a third of the way through that, and I am trying to be good. It'll probably go away for another couple of months now, because I just get a bit scunnered with it, and there's lots of other shiny, bright, pretty new things to stitch on. It will happen, it just won't happen quickly. So the next one is the one that you haven't seen since June, and that's this one, Raccoon Ramble, another Plum Street Samplers. If you've been here before, you know I've got a soft spot for a trash panda, and I love these little guys. So you've got Daddy in the pumpkin, Mummy, and an itty bitty baby on the back. So I started this in June for Raccoon June, and I don't think I picked it up since then. So I've made a reasonable amount of progress. Right, I should have said that Spring Moon is at a whole 21.2%. This one I've added an extra 700 stitches in, exactly 700. Don't know how I managed that. Wouldn't be able to do it again if I tried. But yes, I'm got an extra 700 stitches in, so it's now at 55%. So we're over halfway there with this one. The last time you saw this, I had stitched these flowers in a different colour. I'm stitching this with the Cold for Weeks Dye Works and DMCs, and this is a Fabric Flare 28 count Cafe Ole, which is a lovely colour. Really nice colour. It's coming up right, you know, quite true there. So lovely, lovely fabric to work on. So I was stitching using the Cold Force, and when I'd stitched in these flowers, they were so close in colour to the pumpkin that you couldn't really see them. And I remember asking for all your help and your advice on what you thought would be the best way forward. And I kind of got two main pieces of advice. One was change the colour of the flowers, and the other was to outline the ones that I'd already stitched. So I decided to pull this back out because, again, it's got quite autumnal hues to it, and he's very cute raccoon, so it's no hard to work on. And I decided that I would frog the flowers and I would stitch in the same colour as the ones that appear in the border. So that is what I have done, and I am much happier with it. So as I said, I'm about halfway through in this one. Mum is quite a bit of solid stitching up here, and then there's the baby in the back. Please excuse my loose thread. I'm not one normally for leaving loose threads, but I've got one there. So yes, that, I don't know when he'll come out next. I don't know. I'm quite keen to have him up. I've also got the Tired Trio 1 with Sleepy Sloths, and I would quite like to get them finished together and displayed together. I've kind of got an idea which I hope is going to fit. I'm not sure until it's finished. I'm kind of got things crossed. So that's going to take a little bit of a while to do. If I wasn't stitching so many other things, it would be much quicker, but hey ho, there we go. Excuse me. So yeah, only 2 to go now. And these are the 2 sales that I've been participating in. So the first one here is from the Catkin and Lily from her Patreon, which is a kind of stitchy things sale. A lot of people are doing the Primrose Cottage stitching rules. I might stitch that at some point, but it wasn't something I wanted to stitch right now. So I have this instead, which is my big toe design, and it's time to stitch a Serenity-ish prayer. And I'm stitching a completely different colourway. I'm completely going off and doing my own thing. I'm not convinced about the fabric and the colours I've chosen, but then I'm really good at second guessing myself and doubting myself, so maybe that's why. But if you weren't able to read it there, it says, God grant me the ability to stitch the stash I have, to have the stash I want, and the time to stitch it all, which is very appropriate for all of us. So that's what I'm working on. Now, the stitch along that Kat is running over on her Patreon, and if you're not a member of Kat's Patreon, I would definitely recommend it. It's a fabulous little community. She gives a lot of herself, and it really isn't expensive at all. It's very affordable. So pop over and have a look. She's doing the Primrose Cottage stitching rules, which is naturally in kind of 7 rules. So it makes sense that it's a 7-part stitch along. This one obviously only has 6 parts, so I'm kind of being a little bit more lenient with the time. So I've done the first 2 parts and I'm halfway through the third. So I've got till I think at the end of the month to do this one, but I've got a little bit more leeway because I've kind of got a month in hand. So I've done the first 2 lines of text and I'm working my way across the top border. So that is the flower there is halfway across, and it's just a case of a mirror image to go at the other side. So it's a little bit more stitching than the text, a little bit slower. So I did half and then I moved on to other things, and I'll come back and I'll finish that. It's not a difficult stitch, you just got to kind of pay attention, because it's easy to kind of count wrong when you're doing all the twirly leaves and things. But yeah, I'll come back to that. I tend to be someone, I will stitch on maybe 2, sometimes occasionally 3 things in a day. I'll kind of do something in the morning, I'll do something in the evening. So I kind of like do a little bit and then I'll have a break and then I'll have a new start and all that. So I do find I kind of like give myself a couple of weeks on working on some things and then do something else. So you might, well, you'll probably see that one come back, but you might see some of the other things come back as well. You definitely will see my last whip come back because I am very, very far behind. Not very, very far, but I'm a lot further behind than I would be happy with. And that is the Emerald City stitch along that Jen from Jen's Stitchy Corner has arranged for us, and that's it here. It's a free chart from Owl Forest. You can get it from their website and download, and it's a stitch along that they ran back in, I think it was 2019. So it's already divided into 11 parts. So the first part was here, it was the house coming along to Dorothy and Toto. Second part is here, you've got the Good Witch of the North, the Scarecrow and some corn, and we've got a crow there. And then we move up to the third part, which is the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion. And so it's already divided into 11 sections, which is so easy, and each section comes on a kind of separate sheet within the chart, making it so straightforward and simple if you're doing it the way you're told. But like a lot of people, I'm kind of freewheeling on this one and changing things up a little bit. Not massive changes, but I'm not stitching it exactly as per the chart. So I am now almost finished part 2. Part 3 started yesterday, going by the dates. So I've got 4 weeks before part 4. So I need to finish the second part and then get cracked on and get the third part done in the next 4 weeks. So this is where I'm at. Now, I mentioned last time that I've done Dorothy slightly differently. And I've left bits out. There's a motif here and there's another motif in here. And then there's more to come as well. Because I'm planning on beading them. I'm stitching this on a 28 count jade. Now, who's it by? Picture This Plus even weave, which again is showing up a lot more mottled there than it is in real life. But it's a 28 count so that my beads sit nicely on it. Now, what's interesting there is you can actually see that better on camera. That doesn't really show up very well in real life. So I had this done previously. So this there is what I've worked on. And I have to say I've not done a huge amount on it. This is all stitched in Light Effects, DMC Light Effects. Most of it is E5200. But you can see the bit at the bottom there, there's a bit around her neck, and then there's kind of a pattern on her cape that is in E747. Well, like I say, that shows up much better there than it does in real life. I was thinking I might have to maybe pop some beads or something on there to make it show, but yeah, it's working there better than I thought. So we'll see. So yes, this is all done with 2 strands of the Light Effects. So it's kind of shimmery, kind of metallic opalescent, a kind of mix in between. It's crunchy. It wasn't fun to stitch with, but it's I mean, it does bend, it has got movement, but it just feels crunchy compared to, you know, the softness of everything else. And I'm kind of, part of me is thinking, oh, you boobed there, because you're definitely not going to be putting that inside a hoop. It's going to make it difficult for moving a hoop around when I need to work higher up. But it's done. She's got a couple of little beads still to go around the bottom of her hat and at the top there. But I'm going to leave all the beading until the very end and do it in a oneer, because I don't want it in a hoop with beads, because obviously they'll get damaged. So that is the Good Witch of the North. There are flowers still to go, and there's still a kind of the top of an arch there to go in. And this is the Scarecrow, which is nothing like the Scarecrow on the chart, which is blue, and you can see his tummy. I'm not fancying that. I am basing mine more on the film. So I changed Dorothy to reflect Judy Garland in the film, what she was kind of wearing and that kind of thing. And I've done the same with the Scarecrow. Ray Bolger in the film, he's got a green tunic on and a kind of winey coloured pair of trousers with patches on, and he's got white gloves. And that's what I have done here. So I still need to finish him. I've got his face to do. I've still got the glove at this side, and then I'm going to chuck some hay at him. This face will be 1/1 again. I have to say, I managed the 1/1 but much easier this time than I did compared to Dorothy's face. It just shows that if you do something again, it does get easier. I'm not saying it would be my choice to do 1/1 on 28 again, but it's not scaring me as much. This one was all about the light effects. So yeah, I've got this to finish, and then pop that to the side. I'll just be doing the fence along the bottom and the stalks of the corn for now, and I'm going to leave this element, and then I'm going to move up, and I'm hoping that I've got my counting right and that this is going to match across here to get the next 2 big characters in. Yeah, so because I'm changing so much of this one, I'm almost a bit too chicken to work on it sometimes, because it means making decisions, and I was not put on this planet to make decisions. I'm rubbish at decisions. Big decisions like which end of the country to live in, not a problem. Whether I want tea or coffee, nightmare. I'm really not good at decisions, and because I decided to do my own colour conversion on this, I kind of come up with my own over-dyed flosses and that kind of thing. Yeah, there's lots of decisions to be made, and I'm not good at decisions. So that's my stitching for the last 2 weeks. Yeah, 14 pieces. Some finishes that I'm hoping to have FFO'd by the end of the month. We'll see. Please don't hold me to it. I will do my best. So yeah, plans. I've kind of like spoken in general about plans. But more specific things. The biggie is the Gathering Acorns stitch along. Starts next Monday. I've got less than a week to go before we start on that. I'm going to be stitching that with Jason. He was the one who approached me about doing it because I'd said that I fancied doing the chart, but I wasn't sure how I fancied doing it. I don't actually have it here to show you. And it was on his kind of like radar as something he wanted to stitch, and again possibly would make some changes. So he approached me and said, shall we start it together? Absolutely, any excuse to stitch with Jason. I'm more than happy. I adore him. Tommy from Tommy Creates is joining us, and Martina, is it the German stitcher? I'll need to check. As well. So there's plenty of space for more people if you would like to join us. It's going to be quite informal. None of us are putting any pressure on anybody, least of all ourselves. So possibly consider it more of a start along than a stitch along. There's no schedule, there's no dates, there's no times, there's no deadline, there's no rules. I think we're probably all 4 of us going to have completely different stitches by the time we finish. I know I am. If what I'm thinking in my head comes to real life, it might end up an absolute disaster and end up in the bin, and I might have nothing to show at the end of it. But hey, life's for experimenting. We'll give it a go. I'm excited to try making some changes and making it my own. So yes, so Gathering Acorns, Crochet Garden Samplings. We'll be starting that on Monday, the 21st of September. We've got a hashtag Gathering Acorn Sal, really straightforward, Gathering Acorn Sal. Though I know that hashtags are about as much use as a chocolate teapot these days. So if you do want to do the stitch, it's maybe something that you're stitching already, please feel free to use the hashtag, but also please feel free to tag any of us as well. I would very much love to see if other people are stitching on it, what you're stitching. I would be delighted. I like seeing everybody stitching at the best of times. So any excuse is a good one for me. So yeah, that's that one. I hope some of you will follow along and join us. That would be wonderful. As I said, easy going, no pressure, go at your own pace, do your own thing, just have people to talk to about it. Okay, so next bit of plans I've got, I have bought a ticket for the Harvest Moon Hangout happening this weekend. Geographically, it's difficult for me to get to retreats. I'm quite far north in Scotland. There is a Scottish Stitchers retreat, but it's obviously really, really popular, and I've not been able to get a ticket yet. That happens twice a year, so I'm ever hopeful. Very, very hopeful I'll maybe get to it one time. So yeah, so a virtual retreat seems a really, really good compromise. I've never done anything like this before. I've kind of done scrapbooking things, but that was before Zoom and all this kind of thing, where you just used to message each other and post photos and that kind of thing. It wasn't quite as interactive. So yeah, I've got that this weekend. A little bit nervous about it, as much as I can blether away to you guys. It's a little bit different when you're speaking to people in real time. I'm a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious, a little bit shy. I know you would say, no, don't be daft. But all of us, I think, have that kind of little bit of social anxiety hiding in, especially after the last few years. It's probably knocked a few of us, and the age I'm at as well. I'm going to blame that as well. But I'm really excited about it. I don't know whether I'll do the speed dating, the whip thing, or not. That seems a little bit intimidating. But I'll certainly be trying to go into some of the stitchy rooms. I might even be brave and put my camera on. Don't know whether I'll say anything or not yet. I know it's meant to be a challenge because people's names aren't necessarily how you know them on Flosstube and Instagram, so it's not always easy to figure out who is who. I recognise the face or I recognise the voice, but yeah, putting everybody together. But I'll give it a go. I'm keen to do the Jingle Ball, and I know it's a much bigger setup, so I thought this would be a really nice introduction, and I was quite excited when I saw the designers for it, because Lola Crow's in there. I haven't stitched any Lola Crow charts yet. I have one on its way excuse me, at the moment. It's got some other things coming to keep it company because things can't travel alone. But it's the recent release, Acorn and Friends, I think it's called. It's all the little woodland critters with their stitching. So there's a raccoon cross-stitching his beloved trash bin. Yeah, that was a no-brainer for me. I just love this chart. It's so cute. It's so whimsical. It makes me smile every time I see it. It's got an opossum playing possum with his embroidery hoop. It just makes me giggle every time. So yeah, so that's got a raccoon. You know, raccoon is the central character, and I've now seen that the Lola Crow exclusive for the Harvest Moon Hangout is a raccoon with his jack-o'-lantern. So I'm very, very excited that I'll be able to buy that I'll have access to that. Really excited that. So I'll definitely be getting that. When I'll be stitching it, I don't know, but yeah, I'll definitely be getting that. So yes, if you're there over the weekend, obviously the time difference is going to be challenging for when I'm there compared to when other people are there. But if you see me, say hello. Be prepared for me being a bit nervous. Give me a nice welcome. So yeah, so hopefully it's going to be a really, really good weekend. Bruce and Ailey have been warned that I'm going to be really, really antisocial. And we'll just be kind of like appearing for food. I might have to go out for coffee and cake because it'd be terribly rude not to. Bruce does like his coffee and cake dates. So yeah, but I'm planning on being there for a fair bit of it. Going to some of the designer talks, all that kind of thing. So that's the immediate plans for within the next week. Gathering acorns and the Harvest Moon Hangout. The rest of this month, I've still got to try and fit in a Halloween stitchy day on the 30th and a Christmas stitchy day on the 25th. Both of those dates are coming at us really, really rapidly. I don't know if I'm going to get anywhere near as much stitching done between now and then as I had hoped. I've kind of spoke about the things that I've stitched on already, my plans for those. Hopefully there'll be another. I'd like to get the old farmhouse finished. Yeah. I've got some starts. I've got several starts actually that I'm tempted with. Some are kitted up. Some I'm waiting for Floss to arrive for. They're kind of like just been in the last few days. I thought, oh, I could do this. So yeah, there might be new starts yet. And there's definitely going to be that autumn alphabet start, that Primrose Cottage, to match the Isle of Fall most of all. Again, I'm stitching on Rustico, so it might be one that might come out for stitching while I'm at the Harvest Moon Hangout. 8 is easier than even weave when you're trying to concentrate in conversations. We'll see. There's another couple of whips that I told myself I would work on this month. The B tier, the Madame Chantilly B tier. I haven't stitched on that since July. I don't think I'm going to get to it. And to be honest, it's a bit too summery for me at this time of year. I'm loving the autumn stitching. I am absolutely in my element. To the point where, as much as I love Halloween, I'm not feeling Halloween yet. And at the moment, I might just carry on stitching autumn things. I've no idea what next month's going to hold. It might still be fall. I don't know. I do need to try and work on Crocette GoGo Autumn in the City. That is my oldest WIP. I think I started it possibly, it's about a year and a half ago. And for some reason I've got a psychological block about it. I'll talk more about it when I'm showing you it. I'm so far behind on it. I really had wanted to make more progress. I look at Felicia from Couch Potato, and she's just racing through it at the moment, and it's looking gorgeous. She's doing the Felicia twist on things and making little tweaks here and there, and it's looking amazing. And I keep looking at it thinking, oh, I need to get back to mine. I need to get back to mine. And then I go to something else instead, or I go to something else, or I have a new start. I just keep putting it off, and I need to pull up my big girl pants and get on with it. So we'll see. I'm not sure what I'm going to be showing you next time I'm here in a couple of weeks. It's going to be an adventure for both of us. So that's plans. So let's move on to the people who have razzled my berries over the last couple of weeks. Now, I confess I am even further behind with Flosstube than I was before. I think my watch later list is sitting somewhere about the 215, 220. Now, they're not all Flosstubes. There are things that I have saved on there for other things. So they are not all Flosstube, but the majority of them are. Now, some of those I could probably get rid of from that list because they're old episodes that people have put other ones out, and it's people I want to get a chance to go and watch. But I'm struggling to even keep up with the people I regularly watch at the moment. You know, the people who I watch every time they post. And I've realised that most of them post fortnightly, and they all post within a few days of each other. And it's like for every one Flosstube you watch and take off the list, another 5 take its place. So the list is getting bigger and bigger. So I'm very far behind, and I'm getting a bit stressed and anxious about it, if I'm perfectly honest with you. And I'm not getting anywhere near as much time to watch Flosstube as previously. Life has changed, routines have changed, and I'm just not getting the opportunity. So if I haven't watched your Flosstubes yet, I will. I'm doing my best. I'm loving the ones that I watch. I'm having a really nice time. There's just nowhere near enough hours in a day. But that being said, I have got some people to talk to you about today, things that have made me happy over the last couple of weeks. The first 2 are just really quick little shout outs. Last time I mentioned a couple of Flossiversaries, and there's another couple of Flossiversaries today from people that I'm sure you know and follow. And if you don't, why not? Because you really should be, because they're 2 fabulous Flosstubes. The first one is Sally from Flossy Sews and Grows. She's just celebrated her 3rd Flossiversary. And the next one is Sherry from Just So Sherry, who is has recently celebrated her 2nd Flossiversary. So I've got things popping up on my phone. It's very distracting. It's on Do Not Disturb, but it's not stopping things. Anyway, so those 2, congratulations to both of you for all that you have achieved with your Flosstube channels. There's a reason that you've got to your 2nd and 3rd Flossiversaries. You're both fantastic at what you do, both stitchy wise and chatting away as a Flosstuber. Congratulations. Next person I want to mention, somebody I've mentioned to you a few times before, is Maggie at Homemade on the Ridge. Now, I posted a photo on Instagram 2-3 days ago of a tier tray that Ailey had decided that she was going to do for our hallway, an autumn themed tier tray. And I've had so many lovely comments on it about how nice it is and how, you know, seasonal and warm and welcoming it is, and the entrance and all this kind of, you know, lots and lots of lovely feedback and likes. I think it's probably my most liked post on Instagram. I think my 2 most liked posts relate to Ailey, which possibly says something about me. I don't know. But anyway, I'm delighted that so many of you like what she has done in our home to make it welcoming for fall. But I wanted to point out as well that if you like home decor and fall decor in particular at the moment, you need to go and see Maggie over at Homemade on the Ridge. She is the queen of home decor, and her fall decor is just, it's stunning. It's absolutely gorgeous. So do yourself a favour and pop over and get some ideas and tips and tricks from wonderful Maggie. She'll have your home looking beautiful in no time at all. She's just a pro at it. She really is. She's amazing. And also in her last Flosstube, she shared a different take on a Halloween advent. She's doing the Tiny Modernist Halloween advent, but she's doing it in a very different way. And she's decided finally how she's going to put it together. And it's pretty darn awesome. I'm very jealous. And I'm very excited to see it. She's working really hard on putting it all together at the moment. Ready for the end of the month. So yeah, it's going to be this fabulous spooky Halloween house. Really excited to see it. So yes, Maggie is your girl for home decor idea, how to do it, what to use, all the things. So that's those three. The next four people I have for you are people I've not mentioned before. Two of them are brand new stitchers, brand new Flosstube accounts, and the other two are existing Flosstubers that possibly you've seen before. But they've had, you know, a couple of things that have just jumped out at me in the last couple of weeks. So our first new Flosstuber is Leslie, who is Golden Pineapple Stitcher. It's her first Flosstube, but she's by no means new to stitching. I think she said she had about 125 whips on the go at the moment. So, you know, she's an established stitcher. She's definitely past the monogamous stitching stage, like the rest of us. And 125 whips, she's kind of blowing most of us out of the water, I would have thought. She's got some lovely stitching. She shows photos of a photo stitch that she did for her mum, her late mum, when her mum was poorly and had asked her to stitch this photo. And then her stepdad had asked her to do a matching one for him. And she's now working on a photo of her very cute little grandson, Beckham. And it's coming together beautifully. So she showed us those. But I was really excited to see some projects I hadn't seen before. Something a little bit different. And things that just really resonated with me right now. One of them was a project called Winter Tea with Summer Herbs. She bought the chart from Etsy. Let me have a look here. It's from Non-Stop Stitch, which is a store that's run by a lady called Julia. And she has the rights to distribute the patterns for, I think it's about 10 Ukrainian designers. It's almost like a cooperative that they sell their charts through Julia. So this shop has 10 different designers, and you can go and read about the designers on the About tab on the shop. So there's different styles, different designs on there. And yeah, this Winter Tea with Summer Herbs, it's kind of like there's a fox in the centre. Right, he's drinking this, and then there's kind of boxes around the outside of it, and it's the most beautiful blues and teals and oranges and russets and reds and just gorgeous colours, and it's very cute. So I went off to find it after I saw that, because the colours just, yeah, they really shouted at me. And then she showed another stitch that she's working on, which is called Autumn Maple Leaf Mandala, and it's from X Counting the Stars X, which is another Etsy shop, a Brit designer this time, and it shares the same colour scheme. Those gorgeous russets and teals, they are just shouting so loudly at me at the moment. They are absolutely my vibe this autumn, and I have to say I gave in and I went and I bought that chart. Lord knows when I'm going to do it. It could be years down the line before I get to it, but it just, yeah, the colours just spoke to me. They're just, it's so vibrant and lovely. So yeah, there's definitely a theme going on with my stitching, because I've got another couple of projects, like I said, I'm in the process of kitting up on waiting for floss to arrive, which again have that same kind of colour scheme going. I'm hoping I might get them started in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. We'll just see. I haven't sorted out fabric for them yet, so that could be a challenge. But until I've got the floss in hand and can kind of do some floss tossing and see what direction I want to take it in, we'll see. So yes, that's Leslie at Golden Pineapple Stitcher. As always, I will link everybody down below. And the second lady I have here, she's lovely. I've seen her all over my Instagram. There's so many people talking about her. Her name is Ganita, and she is a brand new floss tuber from Latvia. She has fabulous English, so please don't think that language is going to be a barrier here. If anything, I sometimes feel quite embarrassed as somebody with English as a first language. It almost feels like sometimes we're quite arrogant, and we expect everybody to be able to speak English. My knowledge of other languages is, I confess, is really poor. I could kind of got the basics. And I have so much admiration for people who will make their floss tubes in a language other than their native language. And Ganita does a fantastic job of it. She's lovely. So she lives by the coast in Latvia with her husband, a very, very cute puppy, and two cats who are her babies, Mango and Blueberry. And they're obviously an inspiration for her stitching as well. She's doing 2 Stitch with Coffee designs to, you know, reflect Mango and Blueberry. So that's brilliant. I like a Stitch with Coffee chart. I've got a Halloween cat one on the go just now. I've got a Christmas cat one to start, and I'd finished one as well. Back in, was it May, I did halfway to Halloween. So yeah, I might do some more on that Halloween one, we'll see. So yeah, really, really lovely. She's got a Shannon Christine Halloween one on the go, and she's got the sweetest little beaver wrapped up to keep himself cozy in the winter, and he's adorable. He has the sweetest little face. So please go and give Ganita, the Stitching Mermaid, some love and a follow, and Leslie too, Golden Pineapple Stitcher. So the last 2 I have here to tell you about are established stitchers, established floss tubers. We've got Wendy from A Stitch in the Matrix. She's a giggler. She just giggles her way through her video. She's so happy. She's lovely. She is stitching, amongst other things, this is the one that jumped out at me, Teresa Kogat's Remember Me, which was designed as a memorial piece for Teresa Kogat's dad and his love of gardening. And that was the inspiration for this piece. And it's beautiful. You know, there's a house with a garden, a tree in it in the middle, and then this fabulous thick border with all these gorgeous, glorious flowers running around the outside. It's a gorgeous design, really beautiful. And it's quite, it's not bright colours, they're not muted colours, they're a mixture. If that, it's, yeah, it's hard to describe. It's neither bright nor muted. That's of no help at all, is it? I'm really sorry. But it's, I would say, a classic kind of colour scheme running through it. Now, Wendy has decided to stitch this to celebrate her mother and her mother's love of gardening. So very much a nod to its original design. But she is doing it in really bright, vibrant colours to reflect her mum's favourite colours, and the love of gardening through those. And she's also adding little critters to it to reflect her mum's love of the wildlife that she came across while she was gardening. So she's adding little insects, and she's got other things planned to do it. And I say it's really bright, vibrant, beautiful colours. Way more so than the original. You know, she's recharted it very much her own way. And it just, you know, I've spoken before about how I love people who take a chart and personalise it. And it's a beautiful example of taking something that's already beautiful and stunning in its own right, and just making it so much more personal to you, to reflect the person that you're thinking about as you're stitching it, and you're stitching it kind of to commemorate. So that's Wendy from Stitch in the Matrix. Go across and have a look at Wendy and listen to her giggle her way through her floss tube. She's lovely. And the last one I've got for you, again, another really established floss tube, is Lynn from those beautiful those missing stitches. Start again. Those missing stitches. Again, I'll link it down below. Now, Lynn always has beautiful stitching of a variety of styles. You know, it's a solid floss tube channel. You know you're going to get good stitching when you watch it. But I wanted to pick up on one in particular today. And that is her stitch of Annie B's folk art, Mr. Ferrer's Confession. Yeah, Ferrer's Confession, which is from Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility. And it's quite traditional in that it's got a quote and it's got a house and it's got some motifs as well and a kind of a border around it. But what really jumps out at me from this chart, and it makes it so much more beautiful, is the gable end of the house has design stitched into it. Now, we've all seen lots and lots and lots of beautiful samplers and designs with big ass houses on them, a lot of stitching and a lot of quite solid areas. There's me trying to work my way through Spring Moon with that solid roof and then that really blocky brickwork as well. You know the kind of thing I'm talking about, where the houses, they look absolutely spectacular, but there's just so much stitching that's just really quite monochrome and monotonous. This gable end has emblems within it, and it's just, it takes it to another level. There's like a Quaker emblem in it. There's a vase of flowers. There's flowers themselves. There's initials. And it just makes it so much more interesting to look at. And I would imagine so much more fun to stitch as well. So that was just something that jumped out at me in the last few days that I thought I would share, that had piqued my interest, just in case you haven't seen either Lynn's channel or you haven't seen the chart I'm talking about. As I said, it's an Annie B's folk art, Mr. Ferrer's Confession. And it's a lovely, really lovely chart. The colours in it are beautiful and everything. So there we go. There are the people who have razzled my berries over the last few days. So what else have I got for you? I think I've just got Scottish word of the day for you. Gosh, we've really raced through it today. What did I have for my lunch that's powered me? This is just shocking. Excuse me for just a second. So yes, our Scottish word of the day. I mentioned it earlier at the start. It's bahookie. Bahookie is an awesome word. Your bahookie is your bottom. So I said earlier, to celebrate my double digits, and as an aside, I first heard of a double digit dance when I went all in to take Ailey to Disney for the first time, thus sparking the obsession. We went when she was 10. It was the year she turned 10 and I turned 40, and I blew all my savings to take her. I'd had two friends who passed away before they turned 40 from cancer, and they both left daughters behind. And I just thought life is far too short. Make the memories while you can. There's more opportunities to earn money going forward. I was working at the time. Take her, make the memories. So we did. We went. And at the time when I was planning, because it was a surprise, I had it booked for about a year before I told her. Not quite a year, but yeah, not far off. While I was busy planning things in the background, I was part of a online forum that does all sorts of holidays, but it's predominantly Disney based. And I was reading about people doing their double digit dance. And this was when your countdown, your ticker counted down to 99 days, and you were out of the hundreds, so you had less than 100 days to go before your holiday. So you did your double digit dance and you shook your bahookie. So I'm talking about shaking my bahookie because I've reached double figures. I'm going the other direction, but I have got to 10. I've got to double figures. So yes, so it's worthy of a bahookie shugo. So your bahookie is your bottom. And it's one that you can easily use in conversation, because I use it regularly for I need to give myself a kick up the bahookie. Get myself in gear, get myself going. Need a kick up the bahookie. And of course, as a child, it was the other way. It's like the last thing you wanted to hear was, you're going to get a scalped bahookie. As a child in the 70s, scalping or slapping was perfectly socially acceptable back in those days. And a scalped bahookie was not something that anybody was looking for. So your bahookie is your bottom. And yeah, going back to even to shake your bahookie, I remember Ailey being a huge fan of the Happy Gang back when she was a very small person, when she was an infant, which is kind of like a Scottish version of the Wiggles. And they used to tour around. There was Nicky Spats and Mr. P. And she got to meet them all at one point, and she got a flag signed by them. She just loved the Happy Gang. So we had their CDs on in the car, or tapes. I think we were as far as CDs back in those days. Kind of on repeat quite a lot if we were travelling anywhere. And one of their songs was Shake Your Bahookie. I can't find a copy of it now. But yes, so it's long been part of our conversation. And it's one that you'll be able to use in conversation as well. So it's not your butt, your bottom, your bum, your ass. It's your bahookie. And you should be shaking it regularly. Preferably with music up full volume in the kitchen, or with a wooden spoon as your microphone. That's how you do it properly. So today's Scottish word of the day is bahookie. I will put it down below in case you're interested on the spelling of it. I know some of you like to make a note of these words, and hopefully do find a way to drop them into conversation. So with that being said, I think all that needs to be done now is to say goodbye for now. My gosh, we're not even at an hour and 20 minutes. Who am I? This is unheard of. Gosh, I'm quite amazed at myself. Maybe this is the start. So yeah, I'm going to leave you to it for now. I'll be back in a couple of weeks, the start of October. How can it be the start of October coming up already? It's just obscene where this year's gone. It's just raced in. But I'll come back the start of October to have a recap of September in general, all that was stitched on, all that was achieved, how I get on at the Harvest Moon hangout this weekend. I'll be showing my start of gathering acorns as well, and maybe some other new starts, some FFOs hopefully. I'll come back and I'll share all with you then as a monthly recap. So until then, please take really, really good care of yourself. Try to stay well, mentally and emotionally as well as physically. The world is a really, really tough place just now. I know I'm really struggling with it. Even safe places like Instagram that have been my crafty kind of hideaway just don't feel as safe as they used to, because there's upsets and politics and, you know, different opinions coming in. And the world is just a tough place for everybody just now. So look after yourself. Whatever your feelings are, whatever your beliefs are, take care. Be kind to yourself. I hope that you get lots of stitchy time, and you get lots of time doing the things that make you happy and bring you joy and fill up your cup and fill up your battery and keep you going, keep you focused on the good. I hope the same goes for your family as well, that they are healthy and well, and you get to do things with them that make good memories together, because they count. And yeah, take good care. If you have enjoyed spending time with me today, as I said at the start, I would love for you to hit like. It helps the algorithm, helps me with this channel, hopefully to make some new friends, because I do consider you guys friends. I love catching up with you. I feel like I'm getting to know some people now, because they come back and they chat. So yeah, hitting like, hitting subscribe all helps my channel, helps me reach more people, make new friends. So yeah, if you want to do that, I would be delighted, and I hope to see you again. Take good care of yourself, be well, be happy, and enjoy your stitching. Take care.